Hi, I'm Kara Williams-Pierce, and this video is going to be about presenting a poster. So this is running a little late because I was waiting for the more information about 2024 posters to be uploaded. I'm not actually sure if they're digital or physical this year. So if you have got a poster accepted, I'm assuming that the email that you received has that information. So this is more of just like an overview of what it's like if you've never presented a poster before at ISLS. Poster sessions are 90 minutes long, and they're essentially large rooms, and there's lots of posters and there's lots of people. They can be very loud, or they can be very quiet, or they can be loud and then quiet and like ebb and flow. But definitely, like, it's 90 minutes. So I always recommend that you bring snacks and drinks for yourself as you stand there to keep your energy up and also to give you something to do if nobody's coming by your poster. So what it's going to be like is people will be wandering through the entire time, and they'll glance over at your poster, maybe read and maybe pause for a second to read a little bit and then move on. Sometimes they'll stop and like orient towards you and the poster and look at the poster or look at you. And so there's kind of two different types of people who are going to primarily engage with you in your poster. One is I'm going to read your poster in detail, and then I'm going to ask you questions about it. And then the other is I want you to give me the spiel and use your poster as a visual guide for your spiel. So what they want is sort of like a miniature talk about your poster's content. And then they'll ask questions. So instead of trying to figure out which approach they prefer, whenever someone comes up to my poster or orients to it, and it looks like they're interested in me or the poster or whatever, I say, do you want to read it first or do you want me to talk you through it? And that way people can tell me what they prefer. So I don't have to try to guess whether they're waiting for me or whether they're reading the poster or whatever. So just give them the choice, and then, yeah. And the bonus with posters is that you can just focus on the big highlights, right? You don't necessarily have to go into the nitty-gritty details of the methods or something, because those methods are already outlined somewhere in your poster. So you can kind of often, depending upon your work, go straight to the nitty-gritty research questions, sort of brief summary of what you did for your methods, really exciting takeaway in some of the future research and so on. But people have different approaches to presenting their posters. So some folks will go through it piece by piece. Other people, like me, I tend to just do the highlights and share the things that I'm most interested in, or most excited about, which tends to be the results. So another thing is sometimes you can have this whole circle of people standing around you, and they'll wander in, and maybe you're halfway through the spiel for someone else. So finish that spiel for that person, start keep taking questions, etc. Don't try to like pause and give your spiel to a bunch of people at the same time, or don't stop and start over or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of a strange environment. Sometimes you'll just get like one person at a time throughout the poster, and you'll have to repeat yourself over and over and over again, and you'll get the spiel down so nicely by the end. But your voice will probably be worn out, especially if it's loud and you have to talk with a raised voice. So maybe some like lemon honey tea is a good thing to have for you. Sometimes there's like nobody there. And this usually isn't much of an issue at ISLS, actually, like, which is lovely. But I've been to some conferences where like maybe talk to two people that whole 90 minutes. So, that means you can be just standing there, you can feeling kind of awkward, eat some of your snacks, go ahead and leave your poster unattended for a minute if you need to run to the restroom, refill your water. But also remember, there are other people with posters right next to you. So if they're also just standing there awkwardly, strike up a conversation. You can present your posters to each other, you can chat about things, you can joke about how awkward it is to be standing there while people walk by and glance at you, but don't ask you about your poster. But sometimes posters are clustered in sort of topics, and so the people right next to you might be the people most interested in your content and vice versa. And so I've had really nice conversations with other board people standing in front of posters at different conferences. So it can be nice to have like business cards or something to hand out to visitors, or a little QR code that links to your website. Although we're fortunately at a time where people can just take a picture with a smartphone, and then they'll have the picture of the poster and your email address, so they remember where you're, like, who you are, why they're interested in contacting you, and your contact information all at once. But if you put a QR code right on the link on your poster too, that's like an additional handy way to get them directly to your website or your other papers or your Google Scholar page or whatever. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's physical or digital. Yeah, if it's physical, then you'll have to bring your poster. You'll have to get it printed, and often I have gone to various print shops in the cities. So I'm assuming that Buffalo has some. But the conference will give you, things to put them on and push pins to put them in. If it's digital, then they'll just tell you what size it is, and they'll have it set up directly there when you arrive. So that's really handy. And usually the way these things go is in the schedule. Next to your poster name, it'll say like number 17 or whatever. And so when you get into the room, go look for where it says number 17 on the poster boards. And that's where you'll be standing for your 90 minutes.